Hey babe, welcome to By the Hour, where we chat and reflect and keep your vibe in check. This is going to be another laid back episode, and I decided to call these episodes Unapologetically Unfiltered because, sometimes I just want to ramble. I just want to, come in, speak my mind, check in with you guys, and I definitely feel the need to do that today. If you're watching, I may seem a bit mellow or maybe in my voice as well, and it's because I am. I think lately I've just been feeling a lot of emotions that I don't really, it's not that I don't know how to process them, but I don't know how to feel, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like a lot has been going on. I've been very burnt out, and overwhelmed, and I was just like, let me just be real. This is why I like doing these unapologetically unfiltered episodes. It may not be of interest to anyone. It is what it is. For me, this is kind of like my therapy. This is like me, being open and expressing myself, because I don't always want to come in with like structured episodes and, the word of the day and whatever, because sometimes I don't feel like doing that, So I will be filming another episode after this, which will be structured, and I'll kind of go back to that. But the purpose of these episodes is just for me to like check in, sort of just like ramble. Sometimes I might rant, or people say apparently it's rant. I say rant for some reason, please, whatever. There'll just be episodes where, I might want to like touch on a few things, not really go into too much detail about specific topics or things of interest, and they'll be quite short as the first one was. And I might touch on like a few different things in the episodes. With this one, I don't know, I've just been feeling a bit not down, but like burnt out. It's literally burnout. I did post a TikTok video about it, like, was it last month or whatever? And that's another thing I really want to touch on. I just feel like I've been falling behind with my content. And that's for like various reasons, which I would like to touch on in a future episode. But I'll like briefly touch on it here. I just kind of feel like I've been sort of falling behind with my social content. And that's something that I don't like. I'm not happy about that because I'm very consistent, or at least I try to be. And I really enjoy it. I like being creative. I like talking about different topics and everything. But one thing I can say, I've been consistent with my podcast. I actually thought that maybe I would have like fallen behind by now. This episode will be coming out next week, so I'm kind of catching up with real time. Because when I first started, I, bulk filmed a lot of the episodes, but it's been a busy few weeks, and so I haven't been able to, maintain that. Like having a podcast, like producing, editing, and just doing everything on your own is so time consuming. But, it doesn't bother me per se. Like I really do enjoy it, and it kind of makes me feel so much more independent and everything. But like, I feel like I'm playing catch up lately, if that makes sense. Like I'm trying to essentially catch up with myself and my aspirations and like what I enjoy. And I don't like that. And for me, that's a red flag. And like I said, like I will go into detail about it in like a future episode. I'm just waiting for a few weeks to pass because I made a decision recently that is a huge risk, but sometimes you have to take these risks. Sometimes you just have to say, fuck it. I'm choosing myself. I'm not happy. You have to do what's best for you. And for me, what better time than now? Like I recognize that I'm very lucky being in the position that I'm in to be able to make such decisions. Like I know I'm like, it sounds like I'm speaking in code, and I will go into detail about it. I will like actually, express what I'm feeling and the decision that I made. But I'm just waiting for a couple of weeks to pass. So just stay tuned for that episode, because I feel like it will be something that a lot of us relate to, especially, people who are part of my generation. Unfortunately, I'm part of Gen Z. It actually doesn't feel like it. Sometimes I feel like I'm actually meant to be a millennial. I don't like the fact that the cutoff period for millennials is, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's 95 or 96. I was born in 98, but I still claim millennial status, if I'm being honest. But I feel like I was reading something about Gen Z and, how our generation are like starting to say no to certain things and like putting ourselves first and just not tolerating certain things like our parents and like previous generations. Like when it comes to work, when it comes to relationships, and just life in general, like our generation is like, I feel like we're starting to make moves and like break cycles, which is really nice to see. I don't know if we will be the ones to like really quote unquote fix things. I think that does take time. That does take many generations to come. But I think it's really nice to see that a lot of us are, you know, sort of like getting our power back and like putting our foot down. And I'm certainly experiencing that as well. And it's part of the decision that I made. Yeah, again, don't mean to speak in code, but I believe in like the power of the tongue and like speaking too soon. So I'm just like, okay, cool. Let me wait for these next couple of weeks to pass. Let me wait for something to happen before I, divulge that information. But yeah, I've just been feeling pretty burnt out. And, I do recognize that I am neurodivergent. That is like a common thing that people with ADHD, autism, and all of that experience. And I've always struggled with burnout because I'm very good at like piling so much on my plate. I guess that's my ADHD, because I get like the zoomies, or I get like this burst of energy and I just want to do everything all at once. Like I just want to get everything out the way, because I just know myself. I know if I don't do it, I'll procrastinate. Like I'm a very good procrastinator. But to be fair, in recent months, I've actually been really good at like, disciplining myself and like being motivated and just, putting my mind to things. And it's been really nice to see the outcome of all of that. But I feel like I've been doing too much, way too much, and like maybe giving too much of my energy to certain things. Luckily, not people and not men in particular. I'm starting to learn to not do that. But like in other areas of my life, I feel like I need to pull my energy back. I need to do what's best for me. And sometimes doing what's best for you means that you have to take risks. And where I want to be, like, it requires me to take a huge risk, which I've done. And I'm hoping that in the next couple of months, it will pay off and I'll see the benefit of the moves that I'm trying to make and everything. And I'm actually talking in regards to my content, content creation, where I want to be in the next couple of years. The fact that I've been doing content for just over a year now and I've had so many amazing opportunities just means so much to me. Like I've mentioned it before, but I didn't start off this journey thinking that I would like be anything. I didn't think that it would bring in income. Like for me, it was just an outlet, as I keep mentioning. Like I don't do it for any sort of notoriety, recognition, or fame. I've never really been that person. Like I've always been a creative person, and I've always been told that I have star quality. But me, myself, like I don't do things in the hopes that it will bring me some sort of fame or notoriety. I do recognize now that I do have star quality. I do have a really relatable story or personality that people often are drawn to. Like ever since I was a child, like people have always been drawn to my energy. And it's nice, but sometimes it can be overwhelming. And it sounds mad, but like I've always said to people, like I'm someone who doesn't like attention. She says, well, she has a podcast and, social media platforms, but I don't typically like attention, if I'm being honest with you. I've really struggled with it. But I'm learning to embrace it. I'm learning to not see it as me being like me exposing myself or being vulnerable in a negative way. I actually think I've been pretty vulnerable in like a really good way, and I'm proud of myself for sort of overcoming that fear, like the fear of being perceived. I think I've always struggled with that. Whereas now I'm like, actually, I can use my platform, use my voice for the greater good, because I think I've always known that I'm someone that I'm destined to use my voice. Like I'm supposed to use my voice for the greater good. And I think like for a lot of my younger years, I thought that I was going to pursue music. So if you guys don't know anything about me, like I have always been, if you don't know anything about me, sorry, if you didn't know this about me, I've always been passionate about music. So I studied music at uni. Prior to that, at secondary school, I went to a music specialist school. I learned the bass guitar. I taught myself the keyboard. I sing, if you want to call it that. That's a bit of a not touchy subject, but it's debatable. I'll go into it. But yeah, I've just always been obsessed with music. And then with the voice thing, like, to be honest, like I'm very talented when it comes to music. Like I taught myself how to play the keyboard by ear. I can listen to a song and I can, make out the melody, like try and play it on the keyboard. Like I'm not perfect. I would say I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. So I can produce music, but like make demos. Something simple simple as a guide for a producer, for example, which is something that I've done in the past. When I put my mind to something, I can do it. I always said that like in the future, I really want to learn how to play the drums. And yeah, like whenever I try to teach myself an instrument, I'm very determined. Like I try to teach myself the guitar so I can play the guitar a little bit, not perfectly, but yeah, jack of all trades, master of none. So, I think when it comes to singing, I realized recently I've never been passionate about singing. I've been passionate about music as a whole. I love music and the creative process, but actually singing, I don't really have a passion for it. But, I've also thought, oh, maybe I can be like a songwriter. I can be behind the scenes. But I don't know. I just like the creative process of making music and being in the studio. I do like the idea of performing, but I have really bad performance anxiety. So I've got all these little things that I'm like fearful of. But I would say, if I'm being honest, I have the package, just not really the voice. Vocally, my voice is pretty, like I can hold a note, I can sing, but I'm not amazing. And my voice has really transformed over the years. Like I was so shy, like I couldn't even project. I didn't have the best pitch. I just wasn't confident. I feel like it came from a lack of confidence. Like I was so afraid to sing. And that was because like when I was young, I was so passionate about singing. I really wanted, well, at that point anyway, I really wanted to be a singer. And like I would play my instruments and whatever. But my mum wasn't too keen on music, and also like I was so shy to sing in front of everyone, so I wouldn't project my voice, and so I really struggled to like sing in my chest voice, even head voice, or just project out loud. I couldn't sustain notes, and I had a few vocal lessons, but like I was very wishy-washy with them, and then COVID came around and I've never been back. But I sing to myself. I do try to sing here and there. And like once I moved out, I was able to be more confident in like projecting because I'm in my own space. Like no one's really going to hear me, maybe the neighbors. But my voice has changed a lot. And I think also I was quite insecure about the fact that I'm an alto. So if you guys don't know about like different different voices, I think with women it's alto, soprano, there's also contralto, and I can't remember if there's something else, but alto is the lowest range for a woman, and so my voice is pretty low. My speaking voice isn't, but when I sing it's quite low. And I remember like being at uni trying to sing certain songs, and I was like, ooh, like I know I'm not the best singer and I'm not too confident in projecting, but like certain songs, I was just like, I can't sing that. And my vocal teacher, shout out to Vic, he's such an amazing guy. I haven't spoken to him in a minute, but he was so supportive. And he was like, you're an alto. That's why you can't sing these songs. Like, you have to pitch them down. And so I had a lesson with him, and he recommended certain alto singers like Annie Lennox, Anita Baker, even Tony Braxton as well. So they've got like a very low range. And he was like, you need to listen to them. Like, that's kind of your range. You need to, you know, sort of embrace your alto voice, because a lot of, you know, women in the music industry are sopranos. Think of Beyonce, Ariana Grande, all those people, like they're sopranos, like they have a higher range. And so, yeah, like I was a bit insecure about that. Like, I love alto voices. I feel like there's not a lot of alto singers out there. And it's quite unique, you know. I'm comfortable with it now. I actually prefer it. I love my lower register. I think it sounds so rich and warm. But back then, like when I was at uni, I just used to compare myself to everyone else a lot, or like compare myself to professional singers, which doesn't make any sense because I was technically a beginner, you know. But yeah, I've always had an insecurity with my voice. It wasn't the best, but like I said, I feel like that stemmed from a lack of confidence. I have all the confidence now. I feel like I could sing in front of people, but I would have to get vocal lessons because it's still not where I would like it to be. But yeah, that was the issue with music. Like, I had the passion, I had the image. Like, everyone always told me I looked like a star. I had the writing ability. I'm very good at writing songs, writing like catchy songs and everything. I have a very good ear. So I had all of that, but I didn't have the voice, which does not make any sense. But the reason why I'm giving this backstory is because like that whole time when I was young, or when I was at uni, I thought, oh yeah, like I'm supposed to use my voice. Like, I'm meant to sing. But then I realized that I wasn't passionate about singing. I was passionate about music and the creative process, but I also didn't have the voice. I was just like, how am I going to be a singer if I don't have a great voice? And so like COVID kind of like messed up my plans when it came to music. So at uni, I met a bunch of amazing people who I really gelled with. Like, we loved the same music and we started making music together. And part of my course required us to perform every week, write songs, and our end of year project, we had to write original songs and then perform them at an end of year sort of like showcase performance. And I've performed before, but like as part of like gospel choirs or like class performances. Like, I'd never sang solo. Anytime I was given the opportunity, I was so shy. I just could not do it. I remember one time, like when I was in sixth form, I chose the bass guitar as my main instrument rather than vocals because I was too shy. And I wrote this song because we had the opportunity to perform at the Barbican, which was such a huge opportunity. And it was just so amazing that we were given that opportunity. So I wrote a song and it's called Give It a Try. I don't remember how it goes, but my best friend at the time, she sings, she has an amazing voice. And I was like, I don't want to perform this. I'm just going to play the bass guitar. So I had to teach her the song. And funnily enough, I don't even know how I taught it to her. I didn't even sing it very well. I just kind of did it in like this weird voice. Because again, I was so shy. I couldn't sing in front of anyone. I couldn't sing in front of my friends, family. Like, I just couldn't do it. So I had to teach her the song. And then the rest of the class, like I had to teach them the chords and everything. And we performed it at the Barbican. But I'd never sang solo, like on my own. I've sang on my own with a choir in the background. Like, I had like a solo part when I was like really young. I forgot about this. So when I was in primary school, we had an opportunity to like record some songs, and it was back in the day where like you'd get CDs, right? So there was this song, I can't remember what it's called, don't even remember the lyrics, but they picked a few of us to have like solos in the song, and I was picked to do one. That was the only time that I've like sang solo, But I didn't feel too anxious because at least I was with my classmates, but I've never actually performed on my own on stage, like prior to uni. So uni came along and yeah, I did my performance. I'll probably have to go into this in another episode because this is just like, I'm just giving some backstory about like my voice, why I feel like I need to use my voice. But that was quite a scary performance. And again, I'll explain it in future episodes. And I haven't performed ever since. That was 6 years ago now. Like I said, COVID came around and that kind of like messed up my plans. But those songs that I performed, like everyone loved them. Like till this day, I still have like some of my uni friends being like, when is that song coming out? Like it's been years, like what's going on? So my friends and I, bandmates or whatever you want to call them, friends, but like the people that performed with me as well, we went ahead and recorded these songs, and that we started that process in 2019. Now it's been very up and down where I've re-recorded some of these songs so many times because at first like my vocals were not good. They were not good because I was not confident again and it just didn't sound right. And I was like, I'm not about to put out original music for people to hear for the first time. Like some people have never heard me sing and I'm just like, I'm not about to put that out there. And they're like, oh, so all this time you didn't want to sing and this is what you've come out with. Makes sense. Do you get what I mean? So, I had my vocal lessons over the years. My voice has really changed and matured and I've really like started to become more confident in my lower register and just being an alto. So, I've done a few re-recordings over the years and I'm happy to say that the EP is finally done. It's mixed and mastered. Oh, I didn't even mention, I just jumped the gun. We worked on these songs because I wanted to release them as an EP. And the process has been long, mainly because of my own anxieties and like, struggling with my mental health. COVID actually like stifled some of my plans as well, but it's finally done. But it's funny because I'm now in a place with music where I'm just like, I don't know if that's what I want to do anymore. Like I'm not completely shutting the door because music still means a lot to me and it's a huge part of my life, but I can't say that that's where I see myself in the future, if that makes sense. Like I like the idea of it. Like for me, I've always wanted to like perform with the greats or like certain people. Like there are certain people that I would come out of this hiatus for. I would come out of hiatus for Timbaland, the Neptunes. I don't see myself performing with Beyonce, but I would love to write for Beyonce. Justin Timberlake, Sting. Like I just have like certain people in my head where I'm just like, okay, cool. I'm not really feeling music right now, but if I had an opportunity to write for these people or to be on a song, Coldplay as well, by the way, if I had the opportunity, I would gladly take it. Like for me, it's like ticking it off my bucket list, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's just so funny that finally the project is done. The songs sound great. I'm still a bit shy because some of them, I recorded them a few years ago, but the vocals do sound better. Production, amazing. Again, shout out to Adriano, shout out to Billy, shout out to Harley. Like they have been so patient with me, bless them. Like they have been so excited for this project to come out for a long time. And I can't help but feel like I've let them down by like procrastinating and like putting it on hold for so long. But I'm glad that I did because I now feel more confident within myself. But yeah, like I said, it's just so funny how it's done when I'm not really feeling music. That being said, I'm still going to release it at some point this year because, again, it's part of like a bucket list thing for me. That was such a long story, but the reason why I told that is because, as I was saying before, all my life I thought that I was meant to use my voice for music, and maybe I still should, but over the past couple of months, I've been thinking to myself and I'm like, okay, I've been able to grow my platform. I now have a podcast that I really enjoy doing. And I get so many messages, from people saying, oh my gosh, like this episode really helped me. I can really resonate. On my TikTok, like I get a lot of comments of people saying, oh wow, I feel seen and everything. And I was like, oh, I am supposed to use my voice, but maybe in a different way. Like maybe I'm supposed to continue my podcast. Maybe someday it might get picked up by a platform. It might, I don't know, like I do see this growing. I know it's taking a while. Like I do see some growth. I think people mostly listen to my podcast rather than watch it visually. Either way, I'm grateful, but I am seeing that growth. I am very happy with like the branding and how I've approached it and the things that I talk about. I don't listen to many podcasts, but I can say that I listen to like the big ones that most people listen to, like Cocktails and Takeaways, the 90s Baby Show, Uncut Podcast. I listen to HC Pod sometimes. So I listen to a few podcasts, and I feel like theirs are like very fun, very like topic based in the same way as mine, but they have like a different structure to mine. I think mine is more like raw and heavy, and like I talk about relatable things like mental health and whatever. I'm not saying that they don't. I just feel like they're so good at like that entertainment aspect, and I want to do that too, but I feel like I sort of approached my podcast in the same way as my TikToks. Like when I talk about neurodivergence, being the eldest daughter, my experience with like, limerence or like previous relationships and whatever, things that like not a lot of people speak about. And I think I want to say that I feel like I'm sort of like in my own bubble, but I also do want to expand. And I feel like it's great that I have that ability. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, I feel like I am supposed to use my voice to like speak out about certain things and like not be afraid. And that realization was so wild to me. I was like, oh my gosh, many years ago, I didn't think that I was going to have a podcast. I didn't think that I would be a content creator like I wanted to be, but I was too shy. And I feel like I did it at the right time. And like I said, the messages that I get like mean so much to me. People telling me that my podcast helps them. People asking me to speak more about certain things. People sending in like dilemmas and everything, which I'm so bad at like monitoring the forms and emails and whatever. So I'm going to start doing them more. But yeah, like it's so rewarding. For me, it's like I said, it's not about notoriety. It's not about any of that. Like I genuinely am like passionate about these things, and I'm not afraid to talk about them. I used to be, because of like fear of judgment and like fear of like being vulnerable and the fact that I was judged. But I'm just like, fuck it. Like there are so many people who can relate. I have now grown my platform. I've built this platform. I want to continue to do so. And that comes with a lot of responsibility and a lot of friction sometimes and judgment. But I'm now so much more secure within myself, and I'm just like, fuck it, I don't care anymore. But I think lately, because I've like put so much on my plates, like I'm trying to juggle my 9 to 5 with content creation, my podcast, maintaining my friendships with people. It's just been a lot, and I'm just like, I don't want to be in this burnout stage for too long, because I don't want it to take me away from what I'm passionate about. But like I said, luckily I've been consistent with my podcast. It's just my content, which, it's not a bad thing. Sometimes you have to take a break. I'm trying to see this burnout period as like, sort of like a time for me to like recalibrate and like just reset myself a little bit. Because there's a reason why I feel burnt out. I just really do need to take it easy. I've been like go since last year, which has been great. Like I said, it's brought me so many opportunities, which I'm so grateful for. But I have to remember that I am a human being that needs to take a break. I need a rest. I need to look after myself. I would say I'm looking after myself mentally, but physically my body is really going through it. Like that's why I started off this episode quite mellow. Like, oh my gosh, I've just been so shattered. But, I was saying this to someone the other day. If you don't rest, your body will rest for you. And I don't want that to happen. I am young. I'm 27. I'm not 67. I'm not 77. Sometimes I feel like it. It's because I'm very hardworking. I'm very motivated. I really just want to break cycles, the generation of women in my family have just been very, very selfless. They do things for other people rather than themselves. They had to put like their dreams on the back burner. And I did that for a bit. But then when I finally got my freedom, I was like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to rebuild myself. I'm going to take my power back, find myself, love myself. And it's paying off. And I didn't think that I would be able to get to this stage where I'm like fully independent and I'm finally doing the things that I wanted to do. Like I said, I've always wanted to be a content creator. I was just too shy back then. I had so much going on mentally and just at home, like that just didn't allow me to express myself or be happy. And I can finally say that I'm happy, but I think, as I said, it's not that I'm not happy right now. I'm just very overwhelmed with a few things. And I feel like I've given my energy to certain things that aren't serving me right now. And I'm pulling my power back. Like I'm taking it back as I should. I've never really done that. And I'm setting boundaries in so many different ways, in so many ways that I didn't think was possible. Like I realized that I didn't really have boundaries before, whereas now I'm really practicing that and like putting it in place. It feels weird, but it has to be done. And sometimes setting boundaries means that you have to take risks with certain things, and that's what I've done recently. It's scary, very, very scary, but you have to. Sometimes, like, I see it visually. It's like jumping off a cliff or like wearing a blindfold and jumping off a cliff, but you don't know how far you're going to fall to the ground. And maybe in your mind, like, the drop is so, like, low or, like, you're higher. I don't know how to word this. Sorry, guys. My ADHD is, like, really playing with me today. But you may feel like you're dropping, like, many feet, but it's actually not that deep. Like, you're not that high up. Like, you land softly. And sometimes life can do that to you. It makes you feel like it's going to be the scariest thing in the world. And sometimes it is, but you overcome it. And I feel like everything happens for a reason. And I've gone through this period of burnout for a reason, because it's allowed me to think about life in a different way, think about what I want for me and for myself. Like, I'm finally in my selfish era, as I mentioned in a previous episode, and it feels good. I think at first it was weird, but now I'm just like, no, this is what I was supposed to do, But yeah, burnout is difficult to deal with. I think in my mind, I'm just like, I feel this need to continue to use my voice and support people and speak about these relatable topics. And I think in my mind, I'm just like, am I showing up enough in the way that I promised myself that I would? But I think I'm thinking about that more in the sense of like showing up for other people and like pleasing other people. So I still have those people pleasing tendencies. And I think that's why I'm in my head lately of just like, oh, I'm not posting on TikTok enough. I'm not posting my usual content. I've been like really behind. But I am showing up for myself because I've had to like take a break from that, even though as a whole, I haven't really been taking a break, if I'm being honest. But I have to manage my time in a way that helps me move forward. And that's what I've been doing overall. But when it comes to content creation, it's kind of taken a pause. And I don't want that, because that's where my heart is. That's my passion. I want to continue making content and, just inspiring people. It feels nice. It feels great. And like I said, I'm not doing it for me per se, like, or solely for me. I do it for me in the sense that it helps me to express myself and like get things out there into the universe and like let them go. But then also I really enjoy, inspiring people and like getting those messages, because it makes me feel whole in a way. Like, it makes me feel like I'm actually doing something great with my life. Like, it's part of my purpose. And as I mentioned before with the voice thing, I feel like, yeah, I am supposed to use my voice as part of my purpose. I'm supposed to heal people with my voice. Funnily enough, like, again, I mentioned previously that I'm quite spiritual, and I've seen psychics and what have you, and, all these like spiritual people. And one time, one woman told me that I'm a healer. She was like, you have very healing energy, like in the way that you talk. She was like, even with your hands, or like when you embrace people, like they really feel that healing energy from you. And it's so funny because I've had people say it to me before where, I've hugged them, like even just like saying goodbye to friends, or when a friend is upset and I embrace them, like they always tell me that they feel better, like they feel really safe with me and I have a really warm energy. And that means so much to me. And I feel like when I speak vocally, like I've always like had people tell me, "Oh, you have a really nice voice," and I'm like, I didn't think so, but thanks. And with that, that's actually made me think about doing voiceover work. I even thought about like coming up with, I don't know, like vocal affirmations that people can listen to. Like maybe I should even do ASMR, but I feel like my voice is very powerful and I know this now. I didn't before. And it's such a nice feeling when you finally feel safe within yourself, like you feel sure of yourself. And yeah, I'm there. I'm finally there. But I think I'm trying to find a balance. I'm trying to get rid of things that don't serve me. And yeah, it's pretty scary, but I'm not so afraid anymore. I was saying to a friend the other day that I feel like turning 27 did something to me. I just don't care anymore. I do not care about what people think about me. I don't care about, maintaining this image. Like I try my best not to portray myself in a certain way that I have it all together, that I'm perfect. I think especially being a content creator and having a platform, like I'm not known, I'm not famous, I'm not a celebrity. I'm definitely a regular human being. But like I do present myself online, I tell stories, I'm quite vulnerable with certain things. But I guess the way I present myself, like visually as well, like I'm most of the time, put together, like glammed up, hair's done, outfit wise, I'm always put together, but that's just who I am as a person. But I think people can see that and think that you've got it all together, that you're perfect, that you're happy, but that's not always the case. But I think with me, I can confidently say that, like, I do express that. I'm not afraid to say that I'm struggling with my mental health. I've spoken about being on antidepressants. Like, I'm not afraid of that. Even with this episode, I opened it saying I'm not feeling too great. So, yeah, I no longer have that fear anymore of just like, wearing this mask. I don't want it to come across like I'm perfect. I have it all together. Like nothing bothers me. Things bother me for sure, but I'm so much stronger now. Like I just don't care anymore. I don't care to maintain any sort of created version of me that's not actually me. I don't care. Like whatever you think of me, that's great. I'm not here to convince you of who I am. This is what I say all the time. It's either you take me how I am or you can interpret me anyhow. Like that's on you. Like and I'm actually going to speak about this in the next episode because boy, there's like certain things that like I really want to touch on when it comes to like people's perception of you and like projection and like monitoring spirits, and just people in general can be very judgmental, and I think that used to bother me before, whereas now, like I said, it's almost as if I turned 27 and like things just don't matter to me anymore. I carry myself with so much more confidence now, like the way I walk, the way I talk, the way I like approach things, my creativity, like I'm not afraid to do stuff anymore. Sometimes I can be afraid to take risks for sure, but as a whole, like I'm so much more confident and not so much afraid of certain things or like outcomes, like, and it's a really nice feeling. So yeah, I think I'm just trying to find a balance. I'm trying to figure out the best path to take. Sometimes you think you're taking the right path. Well, okay, let me put it this way. I personally believe no matter what you do in life, that's always the right choice. That's always the choice that you are always going to make. I mentioned this in my first unapologetically unfiltered episode where I said, I don't know if I really believe in free will. I believe that we have choice per se, like it's like an illusion of choice, but we were always going to do that. And I feel like everything happens for a reason. And sometimes like when bad things happen, within context, by the way, because some people might ask, they might, anyways, let me not get into that right now. But like, I do believe everything happens the way it's meant to. And sometimes life can be unfair, and it's like, well, why did that happen? Why are people suffering? Why are this? Why are that? That one I don't have an explanation for. But I'm talking about more like minor things. Like, I don't know, let's say I lost my phone. It happened for a reason. Let's say I didn't get a job. It happened for a reason. If a relationship doesn't work out, it happens for a reason, because it has to teach you something, and like, you're one step closer to your right person. That's why I always say. So, I now view life in that way, where I'm just like, everything happens for a reason. It's not that deep. I'm not going to internalize everything and like beat myself up and tell myself that I'm not good enough anymore. It doesn't serve me any purpose. And if it means that I have to walk away from certain things, whether it's people, relationships, situations, like real life situations in person, like if I have to leave a party early, if I have to leave, I don't know, or if I have to leave a job because of my mental health, I'm going to do that, I'm just done playing this game that society has put in place for us. I'm tired of like conforming. I'm just, it doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't make me feel happy. And like I said, I'm pretty lucky with the position that I'm in. So I've had to take a few risks. I've had to really step back from a lot of things, and I'm happier because of it. It might be scary, but fuck it. Literally just fuck it. So yeah, again, this was like a very rambly episode where I've spoken about music and just, taking risks and whatever. But that's the aim of these unapologetically unfiltered episodes. But yeah, like, I have been pretty burnt out, guys. Like, I'm really trying to keep going. I have been overthinking the podcast. I'm just like, oh, do I need to take a break? And if I need to take a break, I think that's fine. But because I'm really enjoying it and I'm trying to keep up the momentum, and it actually like makes me feel really like relieved after I have an episode, or like when I record my episodes, I feel so much better within myself. And like I said, getting these really nice messages as well really helps to uplift my spirits and like motivate me. So that's why I'm just like, no, just like power through it. If I'm not feeling great, I can talk about it. Someone might be able to relate. The last thing I want to do is like come here with negative energy. I know a lot of my episodes have been like very heavy, very like raw, and yeah, just heavy, I guess, and like emotional. But that's the point of this podcast. That's why I say unapologetically unfiltered, or unapologetically me, cherry picked just for you. And what that means is like, that's me being my true authentic self. But I cherry pick these topics from like conversations I have with people in the DMs, or like comments that I get where people are like, oh, could you talk about this? Can you talk about that? Like, I want to cater to you guys and like what you want to hear from me. So yeah, that's why I came up with that tagline. So this is just me, guys. Like, I'm not always 100%. I'm not always, high energy or whatever. Like, I feel better now that I've like got that off my chest and like given a bit of context. But I just feel like I have a lot of like growing to do still, a lot of like reflecting and everything, and it takes time. And through that journey, sometimes you can feel burnt out, sometimes you can just feel like really out of it. But I know that this will pass. It always does. And I know that the next couple of months or the next years of my life will be amazing. I'm just so grateful for everything, and grateful for the support and the people who listen or, watch my podcast, or the people that support me on my TikTok. Like, it truly, truly means a lot to me. And I'm not just saying that, like, I'm very, very grateful. And I don't want to lose that. I feel like I do have that fear. I'm just like, ooh, I'm so good at like getting in my head and like isolating myself. But that was the old me. I don't really do that anymore. So that means, progress is being made. So I don't need to overthink it, I guess. But yeah, it's been a tough couple of months. I would say the past 2 months have been quite difficult. Again, I will talk about it in the next couple of weeks. Just bear with me, guys. But yeah, I'm trying to take everything one step at a time. There's no rush. I have all the time in the world. I'm still young. I have my freedom. I have my independence. And I do have a lot of luck, and I recognize that now. Like, I am a very lucky person. I'm very blessed as well. And so, I always have to recognize that and remember that too. But yeah, I'm here to be vulnerable, be unapologetically me, discuss topics that people may be afraid of, discuss things from the perspective of a Black woman, a Black neurodivergent woman, someone who has struggled with their mental health, someone who has a chronic condition, endometriosis, like I'm from a marginalized group of people, and we go through a lot, as Black women. Yeah. So yeah, guys, honestly, I'm just grateful that I have this platform and I can speak about these things. But who knows where this is going to take me? Who knows where my podcast will go? My dream is to have my own talk show. Like, I try to put things out there. I know a lot of people don't like talking about like their aspirations, but I truly do believe in manifestation. And I'm just like, if I don't say it, how will I do it? So for me, I really hope this podcast like goes far. I really want to have my own talk show or be a presenter or interviewer or something. I just feel like I'm supposed to use my voice. So yeah, let's see where the next couple of years take me. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening. As I said, these unapologetically unfiltered episodes are just very rambly, just random, just me expressing myself. And they're short and sweet. But I just want to say thank you for listening. Thank you for the support. Thank you to all the people listening all around the world. As I said, I'm seeing quite a bit of growth on audio platforms in particular. And I can see, where people are listening from. It's just amazing to me that people are listening to me all around the world. Like, I am just mind blown by it, honestly. But I'm so grateful for every single one of you, even if it's just one person listening or watching. Like, it means so much to me. And I want to say, if you're watching me, please like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video. If you're listening to me, please don't hesitate to leave a comment or a rating. And share this podcast. Like, don't gatekeep it. There's some gems that I talk about in some of my episodes, and I'm just like, all these people, they want the support. They don't know that I talk about these things in a raw, unfiltered way. So please share. That being said, guys, keep glowing, stay true, and always be unapologetically you. Bye, guys.